Here's a quick run through of the levels of acceptability in college writing guidelines. This will give you an indication as far as what I am looking for in a college essay. Most students want to know, how do I get an A? Some students want to know, how do I pass this class? I realize there's a lot of differences there, but I think that showing you the criteria for what most instructors are going to require for an A, B, or C is really helpful. So if I want to write a C level, if I'm really just kind of shooting for the middle, then I'm going to look at things like meeting the basic criteria, length requirement, you have purpose, you have focus, your essay is reasonably well organized, very few mechanical errors, or at least nothing that the reader is stumbling over as they try to finish your essay. Looking at really good organization, details, avoiding repetition, and giving some sort of evidence that you've interpreted the assignment, or you're able to do some analysis with what you think as far as ideas that you want to plant in there. And this level essay is really exactly what it says at the bottom. It gets the job done, but it may not necessarily have much imagination or excitement. So you did what you had to do. You wrote an essay. But if you want a little bit higher and you're looking at B level, obviously it's all the same things that you would have in a C level essay. But what you'll notice here is a clearly addressed assignment with purpose and focus. You're looking at a very tightly organized development. In other words, something where the connections are being made and it all makes sense. Few mechanical errors, highly specific detail, that you have an intro, a conclusion that is interesting and refers back to the main idea in the essay. Evidence of interpretation and analysis, good transition. Writers will demonstrate a consistent sense of audience, voice, and imaginative use of language. So, this is an essay that's getting the job done, but it's also making the reading experience a pleasurable and, more importantly, an informative one. I have a lot of times when students fall into that B category, and the one thing that they want to know is, how do I make this better? If I can revise this essay, how can I get an A? Well, here's what you need to do. Obviously, you've met the basics like the length requirement, but you really have a richness of content, highly developed, which means that you're not necessarily just typing the first thing that falls out of your brain, but you're going back and you're looking at it and you're trying to edit so that everything in the essay is valuable. Really good organization, an intro and conclusion that offer insight and are engaging, that you have fresh, highly specific, and appropriate wording. And that doesn't mean that you need to write like Shakespeare, because none of you are Shakespeare. Each writer finds their voice, and your voice will be different than anybody else's, just like you don't sound like everyone else. So as you're putting together the wording for the essay, you'll kind of start to discover that. Also, sentence structure is suitably sophisticated, so it's not the same sentence repeated over and over, and it feels complete. It shows a perspective, and it leaves a reader satisfied, but also is something that they may come back to at a different time. If you think about it in terms of maybe a book that you have read many times, well, it's because for you, that's an A level of acceptance. or maybe a film that you really like that also won an Oscar, you're looking at a film that would have richness of content. So these are guidelines to take a look at. This is not obviously a definite in every class, but a good rule of thumb for your college writing.